Welcome to Vancouver Island. Gene Key 57. The shadow is unease. The gift is intuition. And the city is clarity. When you close your eyes and you sit still for a period of time, we can often sense the unease that our body feels. And in the audio of this Gene Key, Richard Rudd speaks to our DNA has both a forgetting and a remembering within it. And the forgetting is that we are not separate from anything, that we're all connected. And there's a guiding force within us, leading us on our truest life path, one that supports our well-being and enables us to thrive in this life. The forgetting is that we have to know it all, figure it all out, that we're somehow not good enough, that we can't trust the universe. And before we dive a little deeper into this theme of Gene Key 57, just zooming out once again for anybody who might be new to this, the Gene Keys, but really the Gene Keys just as an expression of our journey here as humans, which is raising our consciousness out of shadow states, which are our victim mentality, where we feel like victims. And it's not to say that we don't experience victimhood or circumstances that we are victims of, but we realize as we ascend in our frequency, we have gifts and we can live more empowered, and we understand that we go through these struggles and challenges and pains or initiations basically for our own evolution and for the collective evolution. And then ultimately, as we ascend to the highest frequency, the Siddhi, this is what enlightenment, self-realization, there's many words to describe this, basically embodied knowing that you are not separate from God or the universe or all that is. And with that, there is no longer unease, there is no longer fear, there is eternal peace, and also that sense of your immortality, that part of you that goes on and on and on forever. So the shadow of unease, let's get into Gene Key 57. The unease doesn't go away. But when we move into it, as opposed to try to distract ourselves, which is often what we do, we try to follow these desires, which are basically at the shadow level, not desires of our soul, but desires to get out of the unease or the discomfort. But when we really know that we're here on this journey to go into it, to go into the darkness, to go into our shadows and mine the gems of them, we move that unease into our conscious, and we're able to accept, like, okay, yes, I do feel this unease in my DNA. The conscious awareness prevents us from being a victim of it. And in being a victim of it, we chase our tails and we never actually get out of the unease. I like the idea of imagining our body with no unease. And maybe just closing your eyes and sensing what that might feel like. You know, being out in nature, it's easy to get into that space, I feel. And just taking a couple deep breaths and allowing ourselves, the DNA, the millions and millions of DNA we have in our body, to remember what it feels like to be without unease. And then we move up into the frequency of the gift. I love how Richard Rudd speaks to this. He says it's like a trust is basically the dilemma of trust when we're in the shadow. It's not trusting that we are being led. That trust is an energy field that we can rise into at the gift level. And we can inhabit this energy field. And we fall out of this energy field, which is the shadow. And the interesting thing about trust is you have to trust that trust is enough. But when we rise into this energy of trust, we have this intuition. Everybody knows intuition. You've likely experienced intuition, maybe when you didn't follow it, or when you did follow it and it led you somewhere amazing. I know that's my intuition led me here. And if you've been following my contemplations, I'm moving in. This is my new neighborhood. In a few more sleeps, I'll be moving into my new home. Just getting acquainted and just really feeling this gene key and the journey that I've been on and following my intuition. And as it goes with everyone, you know, the not following the intuition is a part of the trust building and it's part of the learning. And then there's sometimes when we follow our intuition and it leads us into a shitty situation. And then that's where the doubt comes in. And I know I've been there where it's like I lost all trust with myself because, you know, I thought I was doing this one thing and it was going to lead me to this one place, and then it ended up leading me to this deep place of suffering. But as we continue to trust, even in the doubt, even in the suffering, you know, hindsight is 20/20, and we begin to see why ultimately our intuition led us into those places where we, you know, we might have thought it was the wrong thing. But it all serves a purpose. I'm just going to look at my notes to see. I think there was one other thing I wanted to mention on this. Oh, yeah. Intuition is only for you. A lot of communities I've been a part of, or spiritual circles, New Age movement kind of things, people think that their intuition is for others. And I love what Richard Rudd says about this. Our intuition is for ourselves to lead us on our true path. It's not for anybody else. And I just thought that was worth mentioning. And then clarity. Clarity, as he speaks about it, at least in this audio, is a little different than how we might think. You know, clarity is like, it's clear to me now, you know, where I should go. And I think that's a part of the intuition. But the clarity he speaks of is like that clarity of the knowing that you are everything. You are not separate from nature, from other humans, from God, from the universe. And in that place, there is no need for intuition. You're just flowing. You're just at one. And he speaks of this gene key being tied to the myth of the philosopher's stone, which is ultimately, as I mentioned earlier on, as we get to this level of the Siddhi is when we have our self-realization. And then there's no more seeking, there's no more doubt, there's no more fears. I'll finish with this quote from Richard Rudd here. So he says that the philosopher's stone is like our DNA. It's where infinite light lays trapped. And when we get to the deepest layer, a supernova occurs and we realize that we are divine and we see clearly for the first time. The game is over. Clarity is all there is. There's no need for intuition. Clarity is all there is. There's no fears. You know you are eternal. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on this theme. Are you feeling connected to your intuition? How's your body feeling? Are you feeling unease in your body? And maybe what are the practices that you use to soften and allow yourself to get into that silence where you can hear your intuition? Because as we know, when the mind is chattering, it's really hard to discern that quiet, intuitive voice that's guiding us on our true path versus, you know, the monkey mind. Look forward to seeing you in the next video.